Thank you for waiting. I'm waiting for my Wi-Fi to hook up for my board agenda, but I don't know why mine is, but some other board members is working. Mine is not. What? Oh, secret magic man. Yeah. Okay, good evening. Thank you for waiting. We'll go ahead and call this meeting to order. Roll call. Dr. Thomason?
President Whitener, please let the record show that all 4 members are here tonight.
Thank you. We'll proceed with our moment of silence, and after which we'll have our Pledge of Allegiance. Okay, 4.0, I move that we approve tonight's agenda.
I'll second.
Okay, with a discussion item, I would like to any questions or comments? Okay. All's in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, 5.0, we have request to speak to the governing board. Ms. Walker, do we have any requests tonight? Okay, thank you. Six point oh, superintendent's report.
Good evening, President Whitener, members of the board. We have lots of presentations tonight, so at this time I would like to turn it over to our Director of HR, Sheila Sorensen. Sheila?
President Whitener, members of the board, this evening we have our Classified Employees of the Month. These are our quarterly awards. This quarter is from July and August and September, so we have those three recognitions here this evening. And we also have a special guest, Patricia Rodriguez, who's here from Horace Mann. Horace Mann partners with us with these awards. They give a little treat to the employees and just go the extra mile to be sure that they get recognition. So I'd like to call Patricia up. And after we talk a little bit about the employees and ask the administrators to come up, then Patricia will be presenting the awards. So for July, we have our custodian, David Sequia from Cortina. He's been with the district since 2014, and unfortunately, David is not able to join us tonight, so we're going to be presenting his certificate back at the school campus. We'll be sure to take a picture. But I want to read you just a couple of the nomination comments. As the nominations come in and they're scored by a committee, here are some of the things that were told to us about David. David was going above and beyond to help make our school extra awesome. We really appreciate his hard work. He works extremely hard in the lunchroom and at the end of the year, all last year during all of our lunch times, ensuring that the lunchroom floors looked clean. And so if we could call up, is Mr. Cover here or Miss Papke? Okay, so we will make sure that David gets the award. For the month of August, we'd like to recognize Angie Gomez from Williamsfield High School. She's the registrar there. She's been with us since 2007. Angie's one of the hardest working individuals at Williamsfield. That was one of the quotes from the nomination. Angie, hands down, plays a vital role in the success of Williamsfield High School. I was taken aback by the amount of work she takes on by herself. And I'd like to nominate Angie as a first-class fellow employee who always goes the extra mile for every student, parent, and everyone here at Williamsfield. And Dr. Wadawa has made her way up, so we'd like to let you also say a few words about Angie.
Well, I don't know where to start with Ms. Gomez. She is absolutely the face of Williamsfield High School, and she welcomes parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, older brothers and sisters, and she makes them feel welcome. One of the nice parts of Williamsfield that has continued even as we've gotten bigger is it's the feeling of family. And certainly Angie lets people know she'll take care of them, and she is amazing at her job. I'm so fortunate to work with her.
Congratulations, Angie. Do you have family here that you would like to introduce? For the month of September, we'd like to recognize Gabriela Marquez. Gabriela is a special education aide at Santan Elementary, has been with the district since 2005, 2006, and then again since 2010. Here are some of the comments made during the nomination. Gabby helped me in ways that words cannot truly express. She helped me get the classroom set up, helped set up learning centers, set up work buckets. She bought the supplies out of her own money and every day gave me words of encouragement. She is an amazing person who makes a world of difference, so positive with the kids and never complains. The kids and I love her so much. I would be lost without her. Please consider her. And then we'll also let Mr. Mercado have a moment to talk about Gabriela.
This year we had a Crosscat special education program transfer to our campus from Centennial, and we have the privilege of having Gabby at our campus. We have a long-term sub in that classroom since the beginning of the year, and Gabby has come full steam to support the classroom. Just been a phenomenal aide in the classroom. She could be running the classroom. So she has done a wonderful job with the kids in the program and with the transition. So has just made a tremendous difference in the class with the kids and staff. So very privileged to have Gabby.
So Patricia Rodriguez, who is our representative from Horace Mann and our partner, just going to take a minute to brag about our partnership.
Thank you, and good night. Can everybody hear me? I'm Patricia. I've been actually working with Horace Mann since 2006. We primarily focus on bringing any type of assistance and benefits to the districts. I've been currently working with Chandler and Mesa, and I have been reassigned, I guess, for here to Higley. Horace Mann was started by two teachers back in 70 years ago. He had our 70th birthday. They decided they wanted to be an exclusive company to provide auto insurance, and now we are the largest provider of financial auto home retirement services. But primarily what we do aside of that, we do a lot of volunteer work for the schools. We bring a lot of money to the classrooms through Donors Choose programs. I'm the districts and the area representative for classroom project funding. We do recognition programs at the school, at the administration level, throughout all of our schools here in Arizona and nationally. So I really appreciate the partnership that we have with Higley to help serve our staff and our administration. So thank you all for a great job.
Next up, we have our Points of Pride Award, and we're going to start with Dr. Bruning and the Special Education Department Award. I believe recently Special Education had a nominee, one of the Classified Employees of the Month, actually, but this time it's for the Points of Pride Award. So, Dr. Bruning, if you want to come on up.
Well, when Points of Pride was first explained and offered out to us to recognize, Jessica Daniels' name came to my mind immediately for the Special Education District Department. Jessica attends all of our monthly meetings for team leads at each site, and in this she organizes information, very important initiatives, directives, efforts that we're making with students with disabilities in the schools. She takes that back to her team, organizes a meeting with all the staff, and really brings home the message for our department to support the kids. She gathers site information and concerns to communicate back with me at the district level so that when I'm not out there seeing it myself on the site, she serves as a communication link back to our district. She collaborates with people at her site. She mentors other staff who are new. She's got a fair number of new personnel, and they learn all the right ways from Jessica. She performs a lot of other special committee work too. Right now, our district special ed department's recognized in the state as a high flyer district for student performance, and as such, she does an extra meeting every once in a while when I need her to meet with the Department of Education and report out on our efforts in that regard. Those are kind of the usual and customary things that Jessica does, but in addition, I want to add she's a go-to for families and students. She's got a lot of expertise and experience that she brings. She's a solid communicator, a tireless worker. Recently I found out she was meeting a tutor for a student on the weekend to get them up to speed. She takes on extra students when her principal asks her, and not always is that an easy thing to do. She's got her own caseload, but she'll take some more. I know of at least two, at least. And I find her always striving to know more, even though she already does so much. So I want to recognize Jessica Daniels from the Special Ed Department.
Jessica, do you have anybody in the audience this evening that you'd like to say thank you to? Well, please tell them thank you from us for sharing you with us as much as they'd allow. Our school for the Points of Pride this board meeting is Santan Elementary School, so I'd like to call Principal Mercado back up to the podium, and he'll be recognizing a student, a teacher, a classified employee, and a volunteer for the Santan Points of Pride.
Good evening, Board President. Excuse me, I've had the hiccups since 10:30 this morning, so I'm trying to. Board members, cabinet members, and guests here tonight. This is the hardest part. I absolutely love this night, but it's the hardest part to pick one person per group. So there were several people that stood out, but once again, it's very hard just choosing one person. So I'd like to have Miss Caroline Simpson come up here, 6th grade student. Caroline is an amazing 6th grade student at Santan. She is the student body president and leads the daily announcements every morning. She has been an active member of the Override Committee, which has given her experiences that many students don't have that will prepare her for the world we live in. She is an active peer tutor and always willing to help her classmates. She is a leader in all aspects, and we couldn't be prouder for her to honor her this evening. She is truly a leader on our campus, an amazing student. She's so humble. She's always passionate about what she does. There was one time as she was leading the announcements, and I have the script ready for her. And I'm, okay, you're doing it all. Let's get some other leaders to help you. And do you want me to train them? And she looks at me and says, Mr. Mercado, I got this. So I was like, okay, Carolyn, you got it. So just a phenomenal student on our campus. We're so privileged to have her. And we will definitely miss her as she leaves us next year. But congratulations for being the student point of pride at Santan.
Caroline, you want to just stay up there for a few minutes?
I'd like to invite Miss Brittany Johnston, 3rd grade teacher. Mrs. Johnston is caring and compassionate in her everyday job. She is a team player and always positive. She is an educator that will work very hard to reach every child that walks in her classroom. Every year, parents and students request Mrs. Johnston because she truly puts students first. She coordinates our IPT intervention planning team process for grades 3 through 6 and is the grade level chair. She works tirelessly to support all kids at the school level. So it is our privilege at Santan to recognize Mrs. Johnston as our Points of Pride teacher. Miss Karen Smith, our Classified Employee of the Month. Karen is a team player that has a let's roll up our sleeves and get the job done attitude to support students, teachers, and the school. She takes pride in everything she is asked to do. Teachers absolutely love her team spirit. I can truly say that with her on our campus this year, our facility looks phenomenal. Clean, and it's just sparkling at all times. It is our privilege at Santan to recognize Mrs. Smith as the Points of Pride support staff. And one more, but that's okay. It's our volunteer of the month. And she's not here, so it'll be short and sweet. It's Mrs. Kuhn. She's an amazing volunteer on our campus. She leads the Art Masterpiece program and volunteers in the classroom. Mrs. Kuhn works great with kids, and teachers absolutely love her. She has a positive attitude and caring heart for our teachers and students. The teachers at Santan absolutely love Mrs. Coons, and we call her Grandma Coons. It is our privilege to recognize Mrs. Coons, but she's out of state, so we'll give the certificate to her later. Thank you.
Before we let you sit down, we'd like to acknowledge your families as well. Caroline, do you have family here this evening? Would you like to introduce them? Would they like to stand up so we can say thank you? Ms. Johnston, do you have family here this evening? And Ms. Smith? Thank you and congratulations.
Thank you very much. We appreciate the principles and understand the difficult role that is to choose just one, and that is what makes board meetings worth coming to for us. We appreciate you sharing those things, and we appreciate those of you who came and shared your families with us. If Points of Pride families would like to go, you're welcome to go. You don't have to stay, but you're welcome to. But if you'd like to get up, we won't really take notice. Dr. Thomason, would you like to go over upcoming events?
Absolutely, Madam President. Thursday, October 22nd, we do have the Mayor's Ambassador Forum Breakfast, and that happens tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. All board members and public are welcome to attend. And then we have November, a very busy month coming. November 5th, we do have the Veterans Day celebration at the Glendale Civic Center, and that's in coalition with the Higley Unified School District and the town of Gilbert. We'll be putting that on together. And then also on November 5th, we have the Governing Board Student Dinner, and that will recognize seniors that we have here at the district office at both the high schools. Higley and Williamsfield High School will be celebrating them on November 5th. And then Tuesday, November 10th, we will have the work study and regular board meeting at 5:30 and 6:30 respectively. November 11th will be a holiday. That will be the Veterans Day. And then November 26th and 27th, we'll be breaking for Thanksgiving. And then our next board meeting will be on December 9th for the work study and the board meeting. So that would be the events we have coming up, a busy November.
Thank you very much. Are there any board comments tonight?
President Whitener?
Ms. Reese?
I've been pretty busy as well. I had the pleasure of attending the Williams Field Band Invitational and watching bands from other high schools come and participate and compete, and it was really nice, and I got to participate in handing out awards, and that was fun too. So it's that competition time for these marching bands, and it was a really nice night, and we had a lot of participation from other high schools.
Thank you. Was it yesterday morning? All the board members were here present. We had the opportunity to have our meeting, what we call business partners, or good government and partnership program, that we are partnerships with Gilbert businesses in the chamber, and we were able to host that event, and some very good conversations and discussions of how we can partner with our business leaders, business owners, and give students opportunities to expand leadership opportunities, business opportunities, mentorships, internships, and some really exciting discussion with the chamber and things that they would like to get a little bit more involved in, especially some good middle school dialogue and high school. So we appreciate all the board members and staff and those principals that were here as well. We appreciate you being here. It is carnival season, and fall festivals are happening all over our schools. There's been a couple already, and way to go Coronado for making that do in the rain. I think that was pretty successful considering a rain out, but you had a good turnout. So if board members can't make it to all of your festivals or carnivals, don't take it personally. But have fun this Friday at your festivals and movies and pumpkin lightings, and we know all that good stuff is going on. We just can't make every single one of them. But and thank you for your PTOs and having those things for your community. I know the families and kids really look forward to those things. So good luck, and hopefully there's no rain on Friday. Any other board comments? Thank you. At this time, and just for clarification, Ms. Good, we don't need to publicly close meeting and open? Okay. Okay. At this time, we have a public hearing pursuant to Arizona Revised Statutes 15-491.K and 15-481.Y. Those numbers are just where you can find it in statute. For report of expenditures in 2015 fiscal year of proceeds of capital improvement bonds, capital override, maintenance, and operations override. At this time, the meeting will recess for the purpose of holding a public hearing for report of expenditures in fiscal year 2015 of the proceeds of capital improvement bonds, capital override, and maintenance and operations override. Members of the audience are invited to make comments and ask questions during this public hearing. The board last meeting saw the updated information where we went over these numbers, and this meeting is just now for the public hearing if there's any comments or questions regarding this financial update. Ms. Deuce?
Thank you. I have just a quick presentation that kind of walks you through what our expenditures were as a total. So please stop me if you have any questions, and I will also have questions. Take questions.
Ms. Deuce, can you pull the microphone a little bit closer? Thanks.
Is that better?
Is it on?
Yes. Is that better? I'll lean into it.
I don't know. It's up to the...
It doesn't hear me? Maybe I'll just talk louder. I'll have somebody do this for me if I get too quiet. Okay. So we have a maintenance and effort, or I'm sorry, maintenance and operations override right now in our last year. And we also have bonds from 2013. So I'll go over the expenditures of those. as Ms. Whitener had mentioned, this is the statute, so I actually wrote it out for you. Basically what it's saying is we're required to discuss with the public what the expenditures were between September 1st and October 31st. So the 15-481Y is for the M&O override. So it was approved in 2008. And it was, the override was to support the district's efforts to maintain present levels of service in all maintenance and operations programs. During the full 10% override, this included maintaining the current programs, maintaining reasonable class sizes, addressing competitive salary schedules, and maintaining the current level of classroom supplies. So this is how we spent the override money in 2014-15 and 2015-16. As you can see, we had $3.3 million in 14-15. 1.5 of that was for reasonable class sizes and about 1.8 for competitive salary schedules. And then in our final year, 15-16 for this current year, a little over 800,000 in reasonable class sizes and 973 in competitive salary schedules. So that's how we spent the money as an overview for the M&O override. Any questions on that? Yes?
What does that look like in real? Like, is that we hire teachers? Like the 860,009 or 860,984? Is that teacher salary? Is that?
Those did. It was spread out into different areas because it all goes into one pot for the maintenance and operations. You can see the effects of it from last year in the class sizes that have gotten higher. So instead of being able to hire more teachers to reduce our class sizes, the class sizes did expand this year, and that was due to the loss of part of the override from 2008. Teacher salaries for the one portion, yes, and then the class sizes kind of make up the rest of that, and depends if you're at the elementary school level or the high school level on how that is divided up. It's much easier to divide students at the middle school and high school level because of the classes than it is at the elementary school level.
Any other questions? So we'll move into the bond requirement. So again, it's basically the same requirement, only we must disclose what we've spent until the bond is completely expended. And that turned out a little smaller than I thought. I apologize. So basically we had a little over 70 million approved in 2013. As of 6/30 of 15, we spent just under $23 million. As you can see, most of that is new construction and improvements to existing schools. And then also for encumbered for this the current year in FY16, we have the completion of the new school and a small amount for continuing to improve the existing schools. Any questions on that one? So what we have remaining of the 70.5 million, we have a bond issuance balance of just under 29 million, which means they haven't been sold yet. So what we've, the total bonds sold as of 6/30 of 15 is 41,785,000. Any questions?
That sold amount doesn't necessarily mean it's been spent amount.
Correct.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
Yes. That's correct. Yes. Yes. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions for board members? Thank you. We'll go ahead and reconvene to regular meeting. 7.0 consent agenda items. I move that we approve 7.1 through 7.11.
Support.
Is there any questions or comments on those consent agenda items? Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 8.0, there is no old business at this time. 9.0, we have some action information items. 9.1 is an information item. It's our monthly financial report for September 2015. If there are any board members that have any questions or comments, you can direct those to Ms. Deuce. (9.2) is an information item as well. The board will be presented on information regarding change in middle school lunch schedules for the second semester. Dr. Thomason, I don't know if that's you or if we have a guest.
At this time, I would like to welcome Dr. Mallerwine to the podium to talk a little bit about the overcrowding at lunches we have at our middle schools.
Thank you. Madam President, governing board members, Dr. Thompson, cabinet, and my esteemed colleague, Nancy Diab, and I would like to discuss a little bit about the middle school lunch situation. As the year opened up, we were kind of expecting a certain amount of kids, and as we got into the first couple weeks of school, we noticed that the numbers were considerable amount bigger. At my school, we're about 45 over. We're about 45 students over what we thought we were going to be. I think it's pretty similar at Sossaman. And what we've noticed with the budget cuts, we each went from like 6 lunch aides down to 1. And so between me and my assistant principal, Nancy, her assistant principal, and 1 lunch aide, that's kind of 6 eyeballs on roughly 490, 500 kids. And just for the sake of safety, also the lunch line is pretty big, and so some kids are not getting as much time to eat. There's not many places to sit. So on top of the safety concern, there's also a comfortability and a service concern as well. So Nancy and I have been discussing it, and we decided that what I've seen work at other middle schools and what she's seen work is to move to a three lunch system. So I put together a few slides that I think would. I can't point it. Okay, a few slides that. There goes. Okay, there we go. All right. Okay. So if you look at it, you can see I kind of broke the numbers down roughly depending on the site. The only difference really between Nancy's site and my site is she has 7 and 8. They eat together on each lunch, and I have it broken up by grade level. I think it was just a product of when we started. That's what worked out for each school. So what we kind of let me see if I can go back. Too far back. Too far. Okay. So if you look, my first lunch, 8th grade, is 491. Second is 476. When you look at Nancy's, they're a little more equitable distribution, and I think that comes to the fact that she has multiple grade levels. So when we talked about splitting it, what we looked at was how were we going to split that middle lunch. So for me, we looked at splitting the electives classes, and Nancy looked at the same, but we're both looking at splitting grade 7 science. So what that would look like is you can see by the numbers, you're looking at 341, 308, and 318 at Cooley, and you're looking at roughly 310 across the board for the 3 lunches at Sossaman. It's going to make it much more manageable. It's going to be a safer environment. We feel like the supervision is going to be easier, and we also feel like it's going to be better for kids. They're going to have more places to sit. They're going to have they're going to get through the line quicker, and hopefully that'll kind of iron some things out. I think next year at Cooley we're going to take Sossaman's lead, I think, and we'll move to a multiple grade level, 7 and 8 on both lunches. I think that way it's similar at both schools. But I think in the meantime, between Ms. Diab and I, this is about the best solution we came up with. So what does that mean? Second lunch to split. It means that you're going to have some classes that go to class for 30 minutes. They break for 30 minutes for lunch, and they come back for 30 minutes. It's not ideal, but without doing a complete schedule overhaul and creating two separate tracks, there's really no other way to do it. I know in my former district, I was a middle school principal there for quite a while, and I was in middle schools for 9 years as administrator, and we always had a split lunch. And there's a little bit of hiccup in the beginning, but it does kind of smooth things out. And the other thing we were thinking about, and we hadn't really talked about in great length, but we've been doing a little bit of brain-friendly research at Cooley and actually getting those kids up and getting them moving around and then bringing them back. I think you'll see probably a little bit of an increase in on-task behavior and student engagement in that split class. So having said that, Ms. Diab, do you have anything else to add? Any questions for the board?
So if it goes well, is that what you're going to do next year? I mean, split, or will you have 3 just individual lunches?
It would probably stay the same, yeah. I think from here on out we're going to have to be at 3 lunches. Just looking at the building that's going on with working with the fees and things I've been working with, it just looks like we're going to be close to 1,000 at each school next year. I would think, if not more. And looking at the impact fees, we've been working with a number of builders that are going up, and the multiple homes that are going up. It's not going to go anywhere but up. I think some of our concern is how soon will we reach capacity.
Our counselors are at both lunches, our plant foreman just trying to be those extra eyes. And if something happens at school and Randy and I are not there, or something happens with the AP and he's handling something and the counselor's there, then you're looking at 1 person, 2 people for 460 plus kids. And again, it just kind of goes back to that front page headline. I don't want to be on that front page headline.
None
of you do.
I think we're very fortunate that we have kids that are pretty well raised and pretty well trained, and they are very self-manageable. However, even the best kids, when there's not an adult around, will tend to test the limits. And I think we're very fortunate that we don't have major situations, but we want to do everything we can to provide the proper supervision.
I'd be curious what the start and end times for each of the lunches would be.
It'll be the same. So, for example, right now, like our 4th hour is from 12:08 to 1:42. So then you're looking at 12:08 to 12:38, then 12:38 to 1:08, and then 1:08 to 1:48.
And we'll look at the same. We're going to keep it as consistent as we can. Yeah.
Stays that same time period.
So which subjects get split?
Electives and grade 7 science.
So there's 300 kids are going to be eating lunch later than normal.
No.
Why?
So right now the way that we have A and B lunch, so A lunch is from 12:08 to 12:38, and then B lunch is from 1:08 to 1:48. And so what happens is it just moves basically B lunch into right in the middle. So it goes 12:08 to 12:38, and then 12:38 to 1:08, and then 1:08 to 1:48. So it's all the same. There's no.
So they weren't.
Go over into 5th period, which starts at 1:54.
Yeah, I think really the greatest change is probably going to be for the adults. To be honest with you, that's where the pressure is going to be on the adults to figure it out and manage it. Kids are pretty resilient. Yeah. The other thing is it's going to help when it rains because we don't have the facility really to support everyone inside without. I mean, they're literally like this, in the lunch. And so when it rains, this is going to make it a lot easier. We got kids in the hall, we got kids on the stage. So I think this would be better overall system as well.
President Whitener.
Thank you. Mr. Reese.
Question. What do your 7th grade science teachers think about this?
Mine are on board. I don't know. Yeah.
We've been talking about this and kind of moving forward, and we've tried to get it out to parents and presenting this, trying to be proactive as much as possible. It really is hard because you've got to try and figure out which somebody's always going to be at that middle level, trying to figure out what's the least that's going to affect the least amount of kids with the least amount of testing areas. So you really kind of have to look at that and balance it out.
Yeah. They didn't really pose a concern. They were just like, okay. So I don't think think outside of a few parents asking some questions, when we're going to communicate this as quickly and as we can, I don't think we'll have too much of a hiccup with it at all.
I have to say, when it rained and you had to do this because you didn't have enough room, the feedback I got was, Mom, it was so great. There wasn't very many people in there. I could sit down and I could eat. And they're like, my daughter was like, I wish we could always go to 3 lunches. This is really cool. So
ideally, that was the reason. Yeah, we wanted Peyton to.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Finally.
she's important to us.
Just kidding.
I would just like to say thank you for being proactive in reviewing this.
Yeah, so the plan is right after the first of the year, it'll go right into effect, and both our numbers are slowly continuing to climb. So I think it'll be a good time to do it.
Well, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you for your time.
.3, we need to approve a change for a date of a November governing board meeting. I'll go ahead and move that the board change the November governing board meeting to Tuesday, November 10th. And what was it, the 11th prior? Sorry, I know, because the 11th is Veterans Day, correct? So it was the 18th, and we were moving it to the 10th. This is a Tuesday.
I'll second that.
Is there any questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. 9.4. I'm just looking for the actual motion. Do you have it?
It's specific.
Want to make a motion? President Whitener,
Mr. Little.
I'll make a motion that we waive the second reading and adopt policy JL-student wellness.
Support.
Okay. Are there any questions or comments? I was just going to read, the district is required by statute to have a wellness policy, and it needs to be in place prior to the administrative review by the Arizona Department of Ed in November. This is the policy provided by Arizona School Board Association, which is, we have the opportunity to waive the second read so it can be renewed for November. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
President Whitener. I request that we move 9.5 to table this information, this particular action item, due to information we received yesterday that I don't feel we've had appropriate time to review and get answers on. So I'd like to request that we table 9.5 to our next board meeting on November 10th.
Support.
Is there any questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. So, Ms. Walker, if we can just put that on next meeting's agenda. 10.0, any future agenda items that we would like to, there's only one on that list. Mrs. Walker, we would like to put on there for whether it's probably the December meeting that we just dedicate the time for the board evaluation, and that we follow through and solidify the rest of the board goals. Is there anything else from other board members? Okay. Thank you. 11.0 is I move that we adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.